welcome back to Lorewatch. My name is Rhea Size, and I am somehow still alive.
Hello, hello, hello. I am also your host, Geese Dave Goose, and I am being bullied by allergies today.
I'm Mar, and I have nothing funny to say.
Whoa!
Yeah!
Mar's back, baby! And today we are continuing our Heroes Ascendant journey, covering a friendly rivalry, the Junkers short story, which is of course available on the Blizzard website now, and not behind a paywall of purchasing the entire book, which is pretty nice.
Love it when they do that.
I love free lore.
I love having to pay $40 to read one short story. That is my favorite.
I'm sure there's definitely a lot of people who did get the book just for their Pookie.
I mean, I liked the other stories as well, but at the moment I saw that we were getting short stories with Junker Queen in it, I had to buy it, of course.
Yes. But so, yeah, a friendly rivalry. One of the shortest stories in the anthology, but hey, there's a lot that happens, actually.
Blasting off!
To give you the general gist, the story starts out with our favorite Australian duo, Junkrat and Roadhog, a bit about to be executed. They show up, and Junker Queen is on her platform, being all, it's finally time to get rid of these bozos, on charges of attempted demolition of Junkertown's main gate, which I believe might just be a reference to the Plan cinematic.
Oh, for sure.
And blasting Outback Bill's premium sausage stand to chunks, along with a few of his favorite customers.
Some of his customers.
To chunks implies some things, but
I like to imagine they didn't die, but perhaps just were missing a few limbs. Like a chunk of them went missing.
Yes. Honestly, yeah, I can see that. They lost a few limbs.
Love it when things get a little chunky around here. I would like to say that the prosthetics got blown off, but it's an explosion. Those things don't usually target metal only.
I think they gained some prosthetics after that.
Yeah.
And the current prosthetics that they might have had also are now chunks.
They got an upgrade! Woo! Do you think they have Junkertown insurance?
They do what they gotta do. They don't have insurance or anything like that.
They just start disassembling the electronics around them, like, oh, I lost a hand. I'm gonna need your coffee machine, your toaster, your cell phone. I'm building a new hand. Any spare parts you got?
I'm sure, somebody who works for the Tinkers, there's a few Tinkers in Junkertown and New Junk City that are, the prosthetic experts. And, those who don't build their own, they can go to those people.
They probably just got a few laying around just in case. Like, oh, I lost my hand, better go get the spare from my trunk. Oh, I'm sorry, they're Australian. My boot.
I just think a lot of things that, happen in, normal governments don't happen in Junkertown. They don't need health insurance because they all need, healthcare constantly. So I feel like that's just kind of something they would have access to.
Everyone there has to be kind of in some way a doctor because they're all irradiated, they're all being blown up, they fight in gladiatorial pits. You gotta learn a thing or two.
And I imagine because we know they've got their wreckers and their demolitionists and their stuff like that, but especially in this story we can see that there's people that have more jobs than just those things, like Outback Bill, who owns a sausage stand. I'm sure they've got people they've got Junkertown medics. There's got to be a little clinic there that they can go to for those who don't know what they're doing.
That's why we need a Junkertown support hero at some point.
That's what I'm saying. I would love that so much. You could have an entire team of Junkers.
But yeah, charged with possibly injuring some people, a premium sausage stand, and the biscuit incident.
The biscuit incident.
The.
In the story, it's not actually the first time we heard about it because you can hear a voice line triggered about it in New Junk City, in the arena.
Oh.
Junkrat's the very architect of the biscuit incident.
They admit I am safe.
Odessa, Junker Queen, she thought it was pretty funny, so I guess it couldn't have been like too bad, even though everybody in the crowd reacted so angrily about it. That's like one of my favorite parts, especially with Junkrat saying like, you would have done the same if you had been me.
Yeah, I love that trope where something happens off screen, characters mention it a few times, but you never actually get to know what happened, but always funnier to keep it that way.
It adds an air of mystery.
I would definitely like to know what it was, but it is funny knowing, like, that we'll probably never know.
We can only theorize, which honestly makes it more fun. It could be anything. I can imagine anything.
The ball is safe. The ball is kind.
But continuing on, she sentences them to execution by the champ. The one and only Wrecking Ball. Hamster!
I also love the part where they realize that Champ is a hamster and everybody's like stunned for a second and then automatically accepts it. Like it's Junkertown. They've definitely seen Stranger Things.
You know what? They call him a wombat, right?
Yeah, Junkrat does call him a wombat.
And no one corrects him when they call him a wombat. So part of me thinks that, you know, they don't know he came from space. They don't know he's genetically engineered. Part of me thinks they saw him and they were like, oh man, that poor wombat got irradiated into being able to think like a human. Now that's a junker if I've ever seen one. Hell yeah!
I think Des probably knows that it's that Wrecking Ball's a hamster just because they're like besties. I like when Junkrat is like, that's a wombat. She says something like, and you're a rat bag. She doesn't even like correct him. She just automatically insults him.
Yeah, like you're a rat. Your friend's got a pig face.
Oh yeah, you're a rat bag and your friend's got a pig face. Like that's her champ. Do not talk about him.
Nobody in the crowd knows that he came from space. They think he's just like that for like no reason. I love that.
And he has a mohawk.
And he's a mohawk.
I love his little mohawk. I just love the idea of him and Junker Queen getting ready together.
They all got irradiated and got mohawk. He has a mohawk, ergo, he must be irradiated.
But yeah, they fight it out. Hammond gets demeched for a bit, and then, you know, it's been revealed he is actually a wombat in a mech ball.
He's a combat wombat.
Heck yeah. They made a dog skin for Ball. You think they can turn him into a wombat for another skin?
I think they could turn into a dingo.
Is there a kind of dingo that is also a shark?
For you, Des, there should be. She deserves it.
Yeah, I kind of made the connection, like, all of the Junkers kind of have animal motifs, and then Queen is just chilling, but her favorite animal is just two animals together, which is sick.
Yeah,
I'm surprised. I think it would have been so cute if they would have let her actually say a hamster, just because, like, her bestie's a hamster.
If they said wombat. Yeah, my favorite is looking at hamster. Wombat.
I was just gonna say, in their defense, like, if I saw a 3-foot-tall hamster too, I would also not think it was a hamster. Like, that is the size of a child, and, like, that's terrifying. I would also think it was a wombat or something else.
Do you think she could, like, swaddle him up like a baby and sneak him through the TSA?
Yes, and I think she's done similar things.
That's how Hamster gets into Overwatch. She's like, yes, I am Odessa Stone. I am the Junker Queen, and this is my child. His name is, and it's just...
Oh, I do. This is kind of off topic, but I do find it interesting that we learned that he really does kill people. Like,
yeah.
We just straight up learned that he executes people, which is pretty radical, honestly.
Hamster has a body count.
Mm-hmm.
Those furry little paws are drenched in blood.
Basically what happens in the story is, as they're fighting, Junkrat eventually pleads, like, hey, I can show you where my secret treasure is if you don't kill us. Because everyone knows about his secret treasure, but they don't actually know what it is.
Yeah. he knocked a Wrecking Ball off course, and while Wrecking Ball was coming back, Des hops down and is like, fine, I'll do it myself. Like, I'm gonna take you out personally. Until he brings up the freaking treasure that just makes her like groan and roll her eyes. Everybody in the crowd is like already sick of it before he even starts.
First kept secret treasure.
Yeah.
And then new information. It's something to do with the final door, which is, I think you mentioned this in the Junkrat episode. Big door somewhere in was it Junkertown or New Junk City specifically?
I believe it's in New Junk City. They're both built off the ruins of the Omnium, but New Junk City is like the heart of the Omnium, so I believe it's in New Junk City.
Yeah. And what's the final door, you may ask? It's that door. Yeah, the final door, the last door, the impenetrable door that no one's been able to get through.
You know, every house has one.
Yeah.
Mine's in the basement.
Oh.
I hear voices behind it. They talk to me.
That's great for you. But yeah, and Junkrat claims that he knows how to get in it because he somehow set up a thing where it can open with his eye.
I was gonna say, I love how he describes how he got in, like when Odessa's like, how did you like get in? He's like, not only did I get in, but I got out, and I got in by falling through a series of increasingly shrinking holes or whatever he said. Like he fell in through the ceiling just like on accident.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the direct quote is, I fell through a series of increasingly minuscule holes in the roof, found a control room and hooked it up to my own special key. You want through the final door? You're gonna need my eye.
To which Odessa is like, okay, I'll take your eye then.
To which the entire crowd watching this execution take place plan to kill him and take his eye.
Yeah, they like call that out to her. They're just like, whatever, get it done with, get his eye.
Not about, watching him die anymore. It's about getting whatever's behind that door.
Mm-hmm.
Not his treasure. It's our treasure.
It's whoever can literally take his eyeball. But yeah, go on.
Oh, I was going to say, I love this story. I love the insight to the characters that it gives us because, yeah, there's like a moment where Roadhog says he was looking forward to seeing Junkrat die, even though he's like protecting him the whole battle. And so oh, sorry.
I was going to say, and Junker Queen is like, yeah, I know, buddy. It's okay.
I also really like that she could literally just take his eye and be done with it, but she doesn't. Like, the Junkers are so much more than just, I mean, yes, they're violent freaks, but they are so much more than that at the same time.
He fights off a whole crowd for him.
And even Des uses her axe to bat away the knife that somebody threw at Junkrat. Or she uses her axe to block it.
I love Ren's doodle of Junker Queen saying that she looked forward to watching him die.
Yeah.
Even Roadhog doesn't know if he's lying, so presumably this happened before they even met.
Yeah, because he talks about it in Wasted Land.
Which makes you wonder, what exactly he was doing before then? Just the whole situation. Like, this dude is presumably on his own, falls through a quote, series of minuscule holes. He's a situation magnet, is what I like to call these characters. But yeah. And so now everyone in the crowd, more or less, is now trying to get Junkrat, while Junker Queen is trying to, keep him around and actually go to the door to scan his eye. And in the meantime, Hammond reunites after being knocked away. And that's where we get the wombat in a robot suit quote. So yeah, all the four Junkers reunite as the crowd of wreckers chase them, and they go towards the final door. And actually, I don't know if we talked about this, we learn about, the different factions in New Junk City.
Yeah, the wreckers, the demolitionists, the tinkers, and the scavengers.
Hogwarts houses? We need to make, what Junkertown house are you? BuzzFeed quiz.
Hogwarts houses if they were cool.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to see, Junker Queen doesn't have, all the power. I think she explains it at some point. She only rules because she is the most badass.
Yeah, I love that part because, I feel like especially with there's still going to be people left over who were probably loyal to Mason Howell and like don't like her, and there's still people who want the throne, but she's like, yeah, not everybody's loyal to me, but I take charge and like I do the things that other people aren't willing to do, so that's why I am in charge.
Mm-hmm.
And then she charges into the crowd and like cuts down a bunch of people. And I love the part where she's standing right in front of the door and it says there's like 4 guys on the floor and her weapons are missing, and like all these people are surround her have weapons, but like they're not going to try her. Like they don't want to.
To be 7 foot tall with a amazing mohawk, and she looks like she could kill me with like her pinky finger. So like, would you, weapon or not, would you?
I wouldn't try her. I would be, if I was a junker, I would be loyal. I would be that person that had the graffiti in New Junk City that was her secret admirer.
Yeah.
Fresh meat, eh? Oh, try not to bore me.
So yeah, once they get to the door, there's obviously people in the way, and cue epic fight scene, and it is great to see the gang back in action. Junkrat riding Ball in order to just pound on some people with the grenades he acquired.
He acquired them.
Oh, I forgot to mention earlier, with him having the grenades and Roadhog having his hook back, I think it says a lot about Odessa's character that she did sentence them to an execution, and they know the champ is undefeated, but she was like, here's your weapons back anyway. Yeah. I'm not gonna like let you just stand there and get squashed without being able to fight back.
Yeah, she wanted a show.
Do you think she would have been a theater major? Because I do.
I think she would have made scrap metal art. She would have been a weird art person who also like boxes.
I'm telling you, she would have been a tech theater major, because those people are insane. Every time I go into the shop, one of them has their hands on some sort of instrument of torture, and they're like, hey, look at your new prop, it goes on your head. These people are one bad day from making saw trash. That is so Odessa Stone. She would love pyrotechnics.
Yes. Welding is fun. I see people do welding in my old schools, and I like welding. Okay, moving on.
I'm with you on that. I think looking at her, like how she dresses herself, and then like she's made her own weapons, like she'd be into welding, and like that type of art. I can see it.
Mm-hmm. I think this happened a little bit before where we are, but yeah, we mentioned Hammond legitimately killing people, and then Junkrat wincing at it, which, I mean, yeah.
The part when it mentions, it's like the sound people make when Roadhog gets angry in their vicinity. I was like, oh, that's kind of nasty.
Yep. I've seen like some people interpret the wince from Junkrat to be like either, or how do I phrase this?
Like he's not a cold-blooded killer?
Yeah, that he's like still kind of squeamish about it, or that it could just show that, hey, yeah, he could actually kill you if Junker Queen actually instructed that.
Yeah. I took it as like, the Junkers just kind of got to do what they got to do in violence at this point. 30 years into Junkertown, 30 plus years, kind of in their nature, but they're still, human.
Mm-hmm. Me when people simplify characters into 1 or 2 jokes.
Yeah.
Don't even get me started on Venture.
Yeah, that is. And you know what? I don't get it, because Venture's an archaeologist. I never got the rock jokes because I was like, did I read something wrong? Is Venture like into geology or something? Why are there so many rock jokes? Aren't they a freaking archaeologist that deals with like artifacts, not rocks?
They see drill in ground, and they see chipped tooth, and then because ground has rock and tooth chipped, assume, eat rock, copy paste joke 1,000,000 times, send tweet.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking that they were eating the clay pots that were 1,000 years old, or the 2,000-year-old bog cheese,
or like some amber.
They got their hands on the mosquito from Jurassic Park, and they ate him.
It's rough out there.
Yeah. characters, people can't take silly, goofy characters without dumbing them down and then repeating a joke, because the same thing has happened with like all the Junkers and even like Mauga. Like I feel like people dumb these characters down.
Yeah, and it's like we've known Mauga for so long, but you're still making the same freaking jokes. What the heck?
Mm-hmm.
Please. But yeah, no. So eventually, they clear the way to the door. Junkrat's face gets shoved into the scanner, and boom, bada boom.
It's a ship.
It's a ship.
I really wasn't expecting it to be a ship. I really wasn't.
Yeah.
I mean, when we first saw the cover art, I was like, are they in a spaceship? And like after I had said that, a few people were like, no, why would they be in a spaceship? Like, maybe it's some weird control room in the Omnium. But I was like, it looks like a freaking spaceship. What? Like, it looks like a dropship. What is it?
Yeah, like, we mentioned it in the Junkrat episode. It could have been something to deal with, like, a null sector command ship, perhaps. But no, Junkrat's treasure is a ship. The surprise is a ship, which I've seen a lot of people be disappointed and then curious, and it's like, yeah, we've known about it for so long. It's a ship. How do we move on from that?
That was really kind of my reaction when I first read it. I was a little disappointed. I was hoping for so much, which I should learn my lesson to like kind of let my hopes, like not get my hopes up, because I just like a ship. Like I know now like what Odessa's kind of plan is with it, but I'm like, ugh, I wanted something different. I wanted so much more.
Mm-hmm.
A little disappointed by the ship. I was like, okay, they build those. What's the big deal?
They have a base on the moon and Mars. There's flying cars everywhere.
Sentient robots. Like,
I mean,
you've got so much cooler stuff going on.
Where are we gonna discuss Thoughtless Gods?
We can get a little bit into it, like the introduction parts.
Okay, because I don't know how to discuss the ship without bringing up that story, because like I understand why this ship would be more exciting to them than other things.
Mm-hmm.
So because they find the ship and they want to get it working and they don't have the ship parts, Junkertown has basically been cut off from society for, like I said, 30 plus years. They need these parts. So I think like this technology was something that Junkertown never had. So it makes sense why this ship would be exciting to them, because they don't have stuff like this. And then, Hammond is like, oh, I know exactly where we can get these parts. I know what we can do to get this working and all that. So I can understand why they were excited for it. It's different than what they had.
It's definitely more like appealing to them than like a flash drive that said Aurora on it or something.
I like didn't see it being like a flash drive of Aurora. I was really hoping it was going to be a god AI of some sort. I still have theories of how this can happen, how Odessa is going to be the key piece, and I should not get my hopes up with this because I'm just theorizing and I'm setting myself up for disappointment. But like I have a theory about her being like the key piece to bringing human and omnic peace. And I could still see it happening with her using the ship to leave Junkertown. But I was like, man, if there was a god AI in there, she could like learn so much and do so much like for her people and for like an omnic like peace treaty,
Mm-hmm. It's like they could have been friends.
I don't know.
All she needs is one floppy disk with a copy of Aurora.
Or even like a locked up god AI that she could just have a little chat with, I feel like would change some perspective for her.
I love the tropes of like AI programs just being their own thing, but then like the characters like talk to them and like treat them like Athena, basically.
Yeah.
Just a little maybe it's like a god AI that's been contained and can only like speak things and can't actually do anything, and it's just like a very angry Anubis Jr.
They turned Anubis into an Alexa. Anubis, turn on my porch light.
Exactly.
Anubis, who's on my Ring doorbell?
Can you like change the Alexa response name?
I do not own an Alexa, but if I did, I would.
Yeah, I would change it to like Athena too.
Can you change it to Athena? I have one. I have not set it up, but
you gotta try.
I'd call it Athena. I feel like Winston, but I'd call mine Athena.
I feel like any Yeehan fic I've read that takes place in Gibraltar. But yeah, it's a friendly rivalry. A lot happens, but also not a lot happens.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of a transitional, what it's showing. The plot is, oh yeah, by the way, let's go get my treasure so you don't kill me. Okay, we have the treasure now. The end.
Yeah, I feel like even with the small amount of Junker mention in Thoughtless Gods, like Thoughtless Gods almost had more important stuff going for it than Friendly Rivalry did.
I feel like a friendly rivalry is the support that Thoughtless Gods needed to really elevate it even more than...
Oh, it is.
A small appetizer, if you will, to the feast that is Thoughtless Gods.
I absolutely agree. I think out of the two, Thoughtless Gods is my favorite.
Thoughtless Gods gave us like a conclusion, and Bobbert was there, and a friendly rivalry left us on a cliffhanger. So it's like, do you like the cliffhanger, or do you like the Bobbert and the final ending?
Do you want to know more about the ship? Too bad. You're just gonna go on the side quest to help with the ship, and then cry several times, and then feel like you've aged 5 years. But yeah. We'll get to Thoughtless Gods in a future episode, guys. I know we keep talking about how big it is, because it is big.
I know, I'm trying not to say my favorite part of it. My favorite part of course, just the tiny little Odessa mentions, but I loved Thoughtless Gods.
Yes, yes.
That one was my favorite of the two, and not just because of Bobbert.
Are you thinking of Luck of the Draw, or are you...
Luck of the Draw, yes. Me when I... Listen, they're both named the same thing on the Google Doc.
I fixed it.
Oh, did you? Well,
I was confused.
I was like, when I read it,
my bad. I was in a rush. I copy pasted the title so the formatting would be the same, and then I just completely forgot to change.
I was so confused because I was like, who are you talking about? But I didn't want to sound dumb. I was like, who is that in Thoughtless Gods?
Sorry, they were both the same, so now that's just what I have in my head.
Oh boy.
So now I have two thoughtless gods.
No thoughts, two thoughtless gods.
We're getting very thoughtless over here. Oh, and I call Bobbert his full name. We're not really on a first name basis. I respect him too much.
I see.
So if you were wondering who Bobbert was.
Well, I thought you were talking about Thoughtless Gods. I was like, who was that in Thoughtless Gods? I was like, what did I miss out on?
Bob actually shows up halfway through and helps Hamter.
Oh, wow. I really missed out on that, I guess.
He is the god.
But, yeah. And it's there's so much characterization in it, even though, 2 steps. They did, I call them 5-footers. They walked 5 feet, but so much happened. We get new Junkertown people names like Outback Bill and Scumbo Lively.
There's a few scumbos out there in Junkertown.
I'm gonna legally change my name to Scumbo.
A very common Junker name.
I feel like Junkrat just can't remember it. I love that it says, these are all the people that he's known all of his life because he was raised in New Junk City, and then, he just calls people Scumbo just because I feel like he can't remember their names, so he just gives them a new one.
I used to do that too, I'll be honest. I'd call people just different names if I didn't remember their name. I'll get it eventually.
Never ask me to remember the name of anything or anyone on the first try.
Or the second, or the third.
Or the second try. You I got the 4, what is it, a margin of error of 4. So if you hear me calling Luck of the Draw, Thoughtless Gods, margin of error of 4.
You're good. But, yeah, they didn't even mention the part where Junkrat tries to make a plan to run away right as they get to the final door. and then Roadhog not having it whatsoever.
Roadhog is like, no, you're getting executed. That's what we're here for.
I do feel like, and I know a few other people have mentioned this, I talked about this with one of my friends too, like, it kind of felt like some pieces were missing from the story, like, taken out. Did you guys feel like that?
I feel like with the pacing wasn't perfect, I'd say, but because, like, I gave it some leeway in my mind, I think, because it was a 5-footer, and I was told beforehand that, like, it was a 5-footer.
The pacing was very fast, but I just chalked it up to Junkrat, the narrator, having insane amounts of unmedicated ADHD.
I mean, fitting.
Give that poor man some Adderall or something.
But yeah, I could see, like, there might have been some pieces, or, like, it was cut for either page restrictions or just keeping it small so that other things could shine. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Junker lore-wise it was really important, but I don't know, I just felt like some pieces were cut down from it.
Maybe they did explain the biscuit incident, but it got cut in editing. So I guess we'll never know.
Darn. And they had, like, what, 3 people help with writing it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It was Justin Groot and Gavin and Miranda.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people for such a short story. I imagine that played a part in it.
Yeah.
Headcanon that all the funny parts are just Gavin's writing.
I could see that. I feel like Gavin really, like, from what I've seen, really cares about the Junkers and, like, likes those characters a lot, so.
We will miss him. We miss him every day.
Oh, yeah.
Even the footnotes. I, like, wasn't expecting footnotes. This is the only story with footnotes.
Yeah.
It came with a signed reading.
And I liked that because I feel like a lot of people don't know, like, about the Omnium. They don't know about why, Junkers are the way they are. I can say, like, literally anything about Odessa on Twitter, and people will be like, well, this and this and this, and it's like, actually not, because this is how Junkertown came to be. So I'm glad that they added that with the Omnium and stuff.
Yeah. Get people caught up a bit, because it's, been very slow-paced over the years.
Yeah.
And I even, like, saw some of your tweets a bit ago, I think, about, like, having, like, having numbered years for, like, timeline stuff for Odessa. I'm like, I think I kind of missed that, but I kind of remember that, too.
Oh, a tweet that I made about, like, the years?
Yeah.
That was probably, like, just my I don't think there's, like, any official thing. Like, I was, like, calculating it in my head about, like, okay, if she was 8 years old and she was kicked out in the wasteland, she would have been this old when, like, the Omnium exploded. She was this old when she took Junkertown. She was this old currently. It was just, like, me mapping it out in my head.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah. I appreciate the footnotes. It's, like, for its length, it's good. I like it.
It is jam-packed with things, and God, do I love things.
I do love lore and funny jokes.
And I think besides the lore, like, the bit of lore that we got in it, like, I was so worried for seeing how Odessa's character would be written. I didn't want her to just be a giant, brutal, angry person, and I feel like they did a good job of that coming through. She blocks a knife from, like, getting Junkrat in the head, and she doesn't automatically kill them, and she gives him these chances, and she admits to, like, why she rules the way, like, why she is the ruler, like, and, like, even Junkrat and Roadhog's relationship, like, sure, he says he wants him dead, but he also saved him from actually getting killed multiple times. Like, it's a good story for the characters.
They explained why she remains queen, because she did hostily take over the monarchy, which generally people just wouldn't let that happen. They would then overthrow her, but since she proves that she is able to take charge and keep control, they really don't have a choice.
And I don't even know if she's as, like, hostile as, like, we would think. Like, her taking Junkertown back from Howl, I feel like the people were up for that, because when
I call it a hostile takeover because she beat him to hell. Like, she hostilely beat him up for the throne.
Yeah, but she, like, what I mean is, like, she wouldn't have done that without Geiger and Mary. And I think that, like, says a lot about, like, the people didn't want Howl in rule, and like the thought of Odessa being in rule rather than him was like they were okay with it. And like we can see, like, I mean, later on we see her with Geiger and Mary again, like people genuinely like her, and I think there are aspects of her that are a genuine good ruler.
I mean, I want to say she like proved herself. Maybe she doesn't have their trust, but she has their respect.
Big axe.
Yes, big axe.
Yeah, I think she definitely has a lot of I think a lot of the people respect her for sure.
Yunka Queen content. Yunka content. We love it.
We like big woman with big axe. Woo!
Guys, what if the ship... I kind of thought about it a while back, but what's the ship doing in the Omnium?
I was also thinking about that, like, what were they doing with it? I mean, maybe shipping out, like, because it was originally Omnium's made to make robots, Omnics, that would be workers for the humans. So, like, maybe they were, like, it was, like, for shipments of Omnics.
I was about to say, yeah, they use those things like we use 18-wheelers. That's probably just your run-of-the-mill, long-haul vehicle, like the Coke trucks you see bringing the soda to the stores.
Yeah.
But then it also has access through holes, and then you can set up a new key within iScanner. I mean, I guess that would just like be general security things, but yeah. If it is just a shipment ship, then if it's something else, because it's on a hill, right?
You know, it also could have been a warship built when the Omnium went rogue.
That's true.
Which, fear.
The Junkers with a warship, casual.
That's like the equivalent of giving them a, like, F-16, one of those fighter jets. A little worried. Don't know what they're gonna do with it, who they're gonna use it against. Does it have missiles? Not real sure. Fingers crossed that they do not have a problem with any of our beloved characters, because I'm a little bit worried that they might have a permanent solution to that problem.
Oh, they got a problem with a few of our favorite characters.
Maybe like Ramatra.
Ronald Mothra.
Having this Omnium in Junkertown and all this, like, Null Sector can't be that far away, right? Like,
oh, I want to see the Ronald Mothra versus the Junkers with a warship. I feel like that would be fun.
I love that. Just made me remember. I love the interaction between Junker Queen and Ramatra in spawn rooms and game when, like, he's like, I hear you like to fight Omnics. Like, you want to fight me? She's like, nah, you guys are. And I think she calls him finicky. Or, oh no, gimmicky. And she's like, I don't want to fight you. I've fought plenty of your kind. You're gimmicky.
I hear you like to prey on Omnics. Try me.
No thanks. Fought a bunch of you before. You're a bit gimmicky. No offense.
Gimmicky.
I said no offense.
Yeah, I said no offense. She's so funny.
I had a thought, and it's a stupid thought, but I thought y'all would enjoy.
Yeah.
So before Hampter was revealed as the combat wombat that he is, do you think he would, like, win an arena, win a prize or something, and he would just casually be like, hey, I'm just gonna need some nuts and berries, bedding for rodents, a wheel about yay tall, and everyone was like, yes, this is a very normal thing to ask for.
Yeah, maybe. I think for sure, since we know that Des is the only person who's ever beaten him, she knew he was a hamster for all along.
But no one in the crowd knew. So
yeah, and so I think like after tournaments, she'd probably like go back to her place with him and just like laugh so hard and give him all the hamster necessities he needed.
A lot of chips, snacks.
Instead of like a pile of gold that the other person would have got if they won, it's like a pile of little hamster toys and a wheel and a really nice cage.
Snacks.
And everyone's like, oh yeah, that's normal. Sure, there's nothing weird with that guy.
I feel like she probably thought it was like the funniest thing in the world, like going back home and being like, ha, they just got their butt kicked by a hamster.
Yeah. One, I would not be able to keep that a secret. Two, I would laugh every time.
I would never be able to keep a straight face knowing that there was a hamster running around killing people. Maybe I'm a bad person, but that would just be so funny.
Just a skill issue on their part, honestly.
Like, as if you're getting killed by hamster. Like, how mad can you be? You lost a fight to a hamster of unusual size.
With a mohawk.
With a mohawk.
I need to see fan art of them getting their hair dyed blue together.
That would be so cute.
Also, wait. Whenever the mech talks for him, it says the rodent says X whatever whatever. And yet everyone was still so shocked to learn that he was indeed a rodent. So like, what did they think about this?
I don't know if the mech was talking before the hatch broke off, because it doesn't actually talk until Roadhog breaks the hatch off.
That is fair.
So maybe like it never really spoke like that.
Though to be fair, sometimes in public I address myself as the worm.
Oh, I say the goose all the time.
Someone will ask me a question and I'm like, the worm does not wish to speak about that right now.
I'm like, the goose is hungry, the goose will BRB. But if that is all, then that will be all. Here's Ascendant. I think this will be the second story that we talk about in the upload schedule. But yes, thank you, Mar, again, for joining us in the yappin'.
Yeah. Thank you
was
so much
great
for having
having
me. I will always talk about my favorite Overwatch things, anything Junkers, anything Moira. So anytime you want to chat about that.
Yep.
Woo. Yeah, baby.
But yeah. This has been Lorewatch. I've been your host, Geese the Dave the Goose.
I think I've been Rhea's thighs and I'm probably still alive.
Hopefully.
Fingers
And-
crossed.
And I'm still Mar. Thanks for having me. Still have nothing funny to say.
Bye!
See
Bye.
you later, alligator. Y'all ready for take 2?
See.
Yes.
Steve. Huh?
See.
Oh. Don't speak other languages around me before I've had my coffee.
It's 1 p.m.